Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome to our first franchise mode series of NHL 22, which literally just released the 10-hour trial on EA Play. As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail of this video, we are going to be taking over the Arizona Coyotes, who should be a pretty fun team to rebuild, I'm pretty sure, because we got some pretty good young prospects, and there's also a lot of players on one-year deals, so it might make for like a good clean slate for the second season. And yeah, hopefully we can build this team up to win its first ever Stanley Cup. That would be pretty awesome. Now, before we get started, I'd like to let you guys know I did make some adjustments to the roster ahead of time. So there is a few new things here that you guys won't have on your starting roster. So I did add prospect John Farinacci to the Arizona Coyotes, so he should be a unsigned prospect for this team. I also did add a couple prospects in, well, one prospect, and that is Matvey Michkov to the second-year draft. He's going to be an 80 medium franchise right now, but he will be like higher up by the time the draft actually happens. I also did adjust Shane Wright's overall to an 83 franchise, and I also made Connor Bedard an 81 medium franchise as requested by one of my buddies on Twitter. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I also did factor in some new contracts that literally just happened over the last few days. So I did make Tyler Ennis sign for a one-year deal at $900K. And I also signed Alex Galchenyuk to Arizona, which will actually affect us for a one-year deal at $750K. And I also did sign Chara to the Islanders because for some reason he's still a free agent in this, because I guess they didn't disclose the actual contract of what he's going to be making this year. So I gave him a one-year, $1 million deal to factor in that contract that he had. So I did make a little bit of adjustments ahead of time, and yeah, I'm very excited to get started with this franchise mode series. A new clean slate of a series, because last year in 21 we ran a Detroit series like the entire time. So very excited to get this one underway. Okay, so let's get started. So good old classic franchise mode, and we are going to enter in our GM name, which I am going to name my guy SnipeNScore this time around. I think last year I named my guy SnipeNScore, but since we do have now technically from when we played Be a Pro last year a channel legend, I guess you could call myself, we'll make ourselves SnipeNScore, because that is now our new alias for stuff, and apparently it exceeds 12 characters, so I will just do... Let's just put Von Score, I guess. We don't need the snipe part. Why does it only 12 characters, though? It should be a little bit bigger than that. So there you go. Von Score is our GM name. And we will be taking over the Arizona Coyotes. I really like the UI in this game for the most part, except for I know there's a little bit of problems in franchise mode, which we will get to when we look through all the rosters and whatnot. So... there is our information. So 79 million in team budget. Not that that matters, because we aren't probably going to be having a budgeting and stuff like that. So here's all the division makeup. Looks good to me. Not going to realign anything, at least not for this franchise mode. And in owner mode, yeah, I think we're going to turn owner mode off, because we're not going to relocate Arizona. We're going to keep Arizona where they are. They deserve to get a chance at a Stanley Cup. And then obviously salary cap is going to be on. GM firing, that stuff is off. Head coach edit lines, we're going to turn that off because we're going to edit it ourselves. Fog of War is going to be turned off because I'm not a huge fan of Fog of War, because I'd like to know what my player overalls are and all that sort of thing. Player morale, we will... yeah, we'll keep that on. CPU trades is on. What else do we want? Yeah, that's good on that front, I think. Let's continue, and let's go to rules and settings, because I think I'm going to turn off morale meetings, because I don't really like morale meetings, but I do like morale being in franchise mode because it makes it a little bit more realistic. So we will go down here. Auto sign free agents, no thank you. Auto save, we're going to turn that off just because I want to be careful that I don't end up like having the game auto save when I'm recording videos and then for some reason my video goes down. Trade difficulty we'll leave to, I will put to hard, because I think that's what we did last year. Fog of War off, that's good. Auto scouting, both, yeah, that's good for me. Just gotta make sure that morale meetings are off, because like I said, I don't like those really. Injury return fully healed, because I don't want them to come back and get re-injured, because that's really annoying when that happens. Sim engine can stay to medium. Yeah, all that stuff can stay to medium. I think most of the rest of that is good. Morale meetings are off. Retired jersey numbers. Oh, you could actually turn those off. I didn't even realize for franchise mode. That's good. Because if my throwback builds, if for some reason you can't have created teams, at least you guys could turn this feature off in franchise mode. Okay, so that's good. Everything is set up, I think. Let me just make sure the gameplay sliders don't matter that much. Advanced settings is where we just were. Yeah, we are good to go, I'm pretty sure. Actually, wait. Yeah, that's good to go. Okay, let's start up our franchise mode. Very excited to get this underway. We're not going to do any simulating in this episode. We're just going to go over pretty much our roster, take a look at any new features that EA might not have mentioned, which hopefully there is some, but I doubt there will be. We'll also take a look at like the draft class and stuff like that. So, new to franchise mode, you can now interview, hire, and fire your entire coaching staff. Okay, I think that was already in franchise mode before, right? Coaches, line chemistry, yeah. Scouting accuracy, yeah, I know about all this. Fog of War, we're not having that on anyways. Okay, so here is what the franchise mode hub looks like. Looks like pretty much every other year, but it actually looks pretty nice. I like the way they have it right here. Nice. Okay, well, let's just take a look and see what we got here. Pretty much the exact same stuff as previous years. Proposed trade and all that stuff. Yeah, pretty much the exact same stuff as you normally would have in a franchise mode. Yeah, literally everything's the exact same so far that I could see. Record book is still there, which is good. Edit player. Okay, let's take a look at what we got in our system and our roster and all that sort of stuff. And then we'll take a look at our lineup and all that. So, I need to get rid of these tutorials because I don't really care about tutorials. So, let's take a look at, make sure that I actually added John Farinacci properly. Unsigned. Apparently I did not. Okay, I think John Farinacci might have been thrown to free agency when I made him, even though he is technically an Arizona Coyote. Let me just make sure on that front, because if he is still a free agent, then I will, or if he gets thrown to free agency, I'm going to just automatically sign him, because I don't even understand why they would add him to free agency, or why the game would add him to free agency, but, yeah, we'll sign him up right away just to make it realistic. But I guess I didn't add him properly. I'm not used to adding much unsigned prospects for franchise mode. Yeah, he got added to free agency. We'll just give him a contract, and he'll play in our AHL in year 1. But, so there's John Farinacci. Anyways, let's take a look at our contracts. So let's start off with our NHL roster. So center-wise, we got Nick Schmaltz, who's an 84 overall. A little bit low, but he's a good player. He's signed one of the most long-term signees on this team. There's Alex Galchenyuk, as I said, I added him to the roster. $750K for 1 year. Respectable kind of third liner. And then we got a good future player in Barrett Hayton, who's signed for 1 year, and then he needs a long-term contract. He's definitely a big part of this future for this team. We also got Jay Beagle, who is not really much of anything. He's only signed for 1 year. Same with Travis Boyd. And is it Joachim Larson? I can't remember his name. Johan Larson. I, for some reason, thought of Joachim Larson, which I don't think is even a player that ever played in the NHL, but I could be wrong. So that's our center core, which does not look too good, and at least a lot of these guys are signed on 1 year deals. Like I said, Barrett Hayton's going to be definitely part of our future. He's only a medium top 6 forward, which might be a little bit of a low potential considering he was a 5th overall pick, but we'll see how he plays this year and whatnot. He more than likely will be in the NHL team this season. And then in terms of left wing wise, we got Clayton Keller. He's another one of these guys that are signed long term here in Arizona, which I'm happy with because he's only 23. But he is a low lead potential, which is interesting now, which kind of makes sense though. And then we also got a lot of other 1 year deals. So we got DeZingle, we got Jaskin, not really much of anything. We got Lawson Krause, who's an RFA at the end of the season. Good bottom 6 kind of player, I guess. And we got Roussel and Louis Eriksson, who's a 76 overall, making $6 million for only this season. So yeah, as you can see, like I was mentioning, a lot of 1 year contracts and a couple guys that are signed long term. And then on to right wing wise, we got Phil Kessel, and Phil Kessel obviously is now on the trading block in real life, so we might have to trade him away in this first season, obviously, because he does have probably trade value. He's making 6.8 for this year, and then he's a free agent. We also have Christian Fischer, who's another solid prospect, or younger guy, I should say, that we could keep for this roster for a few years. So we definitely have some players we can build around. And then in defense, obviously, we have a big one in Jacob Chikrin. He's another one of these guys that are signed decently long term that I would like to keep around for a while. We also have Shane Gostisbehere, who's signed for 2 years, which he could be potentially trade bait because he's not as good as he used to be. We got Strawman signed for 1 year, and Ilya Lyubushkin, who's signed for 1 year. Victor Soderstrom, another big part of this team's future, I would say. And we also got Connor Timmins, who came in from Colorado via trade, I believe, in the offseason. Yeah, I think he was part of the Darcy Kemper trade, if I'm not mistaken. So he's on our defensive core, so we got some good prospects for the future, which is nice. And in goaltending-wise, we don't really have any good goalies. As you can see, Carter Hutton is our starter. Very bad goalie. And then we also have Joseph Coronar, who's never actually played an NHL game, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know why he's a 78. But he's also a decent backup, I guess, for the future. So yeah, there's Joseph Coronar. We have no X Factors on this team, which is also interesting to note. And then in terms of our in the system wise, we don't really have a whole lot, I think. Well, we do have some good prospects, but some of them are not. Like center wise, we don't really have anybody huge. We have Yannick, who's decent, Liam Kirk, who's also decent, but both have top 9 potential. McGregor's a bottom 6, so not really much of anything. And then we go to our left wingers, as you can see. Not really much of anything except for a big one here in Dylan Guenther, which I'm not opposed to. So Dylan Guenther probably will be not into the NHL for a while. Doesn't look like he... Actually, no, he does have a superstar X Factor, it says. Potentially. Looks like it, at least. So yeah, Dylan Guenther is a big part of our team's future. Not really much else other than those, or than Guenther. Right wing-wise, not really much either. We do have Aku Roddy, who's the brother of Adu Roddy, but he's not really anything either. Like I said, once John Farinacci signs, he will be our best center prospect pretty much for this team. So we do have some pieces we could build around. And then defensively, Capobianco is not really much of anything, but he does have potential. But he's already 24. Same with Saariarvi, he's not really much. Like, there's not a huge amount of good defensive prospects in this team system, but... a lot of these guys are pretty young, so who knows, maybe they'll outgrow their potentials. And then in terms of goaltending prospects, we do have Prosvetov, yeah, that's how you pronounce it. 22 years old, 74 overall, but he's a low fringe starter potential. So not really much in terms of the goalie front either. But yeah, that's basically what our roster looks like. Definitely, I think we are going to be in the running for the first overall pick in year 1, but who knows. We could out-simulate, hopefully not. But yeah, basically Chikrin, Keller, and Schmaltz are the big parts of our future. Same with Fisher in terms of forward core, Baird, Hayton, and then a lot of guys in our system, or a couple guys in our system, I should say. So that is that. Let's take a look at the lineup, and then we'll take a look at the draft class. And I think that'll be almost it. Maybe the trading block as well, just in case we want to make any trades in year 1. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Let's take a look at our lineup. So this is how our lines are situated in terms of chemistry. So Keller, Schmaltz, and Kessel is the top line. Second line has Fisher, Galchenyuk, and Dzingel. And yeah, that yellow is still a little bit hard to read, but that yellow is hard to read a little bit. In terms of not like the chemistry portion, but the part on the side under like Christian Fisher's line fit. That yellow is a little bit hard to read, just in case you were watching this EA. But second line is Dzingel, Galchenyuk, and Fisher. Third line, Boyd, Hayton, and Jaskin. And fourth line, Roussel, Beagle, and Krause. So I'm not a huge fan of our forward core. The chemistry is not that bad, which is nice. And then defensively, we actually have some good chemistry. And yeah, that green is terrible on the eyes. Holy crap. Yeah, EA, you need to fix that, please. But top pairing, we got Chikrin and Strawman, which is pretty decent. We got Lyubushkin and Gostisbehere, which is actually not a bad top 4. Obviously, we need to still build it up a little bit. And then Victor Soderstrom and Connor Timmins, so we definitely should address our defensive core as well. Goalie-wise, it's Hutton and Coronar, and depth-wise, it's Louis Eriksson and Johan Larsson, which I might throw Johan Larsson in over somebody like Jay Beagle. And I don't know if I would throw Louis Eriksson in, maybe instead of Roussel. And then AHL-wise, this is just basically what our lineup looks like. Some decently young guys, but yeah, not really a whole lot of anything. Good defensive core, actually, for overall-wise in the system. And then there's the goaltending. And all the depth guys, we should probably dress some of them like Cam Deneen, I would assume. So there you go, that is that. I believe I didn't give Yamamoto his extension that he got in real life, so I won't do that, but he will get signed by Edmonton more than likely. So that is that, and I think that's almost it. Let's take a look at the draft class just to see what the quality looks like. I did up, like I said, Shane Wright to an 83 overall, so he should be the unanimous #1 overall pick. There's Brad Lambert. He has a picture now, which is cool. But yeah, this is what the first year draft looks like. Some EA generated guys like Kirk Estrada. No idea how good he is or any of these guys are, but we'll eventually have like an X Factor kind of category in this type of thing. So that's pretty cool. Once we actually start scouting these players out. But yeah, there's a lot of EA generated guys in the first year draft because this first roster obviously is not always in good condition. But there is some real guys like Marcus Vidicek, but a lot of EA generated ones as well, which is kind of cool because I like EA generated players more than real players to an extent. Goalie wise, the best one is Tucker Tynan. So yeah, this draft class doesn't look really that good for goaltending wise, but hopefully in the future draft there's some good goalies. So yeah, that is the draft class. Now let's take a look at the trading block just to see what's out there in case you guys want me to make any trades in the next episode. And we will also take a look at free agents in case we want to make any free agent signings. But I think our roster is pretty much set. But we might make trades to start the season, or we might just wait till the deadline, who knows. So some prospects in Anaheim. We'll sell. Yeah, it's not really much of anything so far. Rasmus Dahlin gets thrown on the block by Buffalo. That is interesting. I know he's an RFA, but still. Or didn't he? Yeah, I think he signed a contract in real life. Yeah, he did. So I should have added that probably to this franchise mode, but more than likely he will get re-signed and not traded. If he gets traded, then it's kind of stupid, but Pysyk, Oaks, Pozo, Egan, and Skinner. They should honestly just throw Jack Eichel on the block. Walensky in Calgary. Yeah, some of these overalls are a little weird, but what could you do? I'm not going to edit these rosters myself. I'm going to wait to start another series where Tugi has the updated rosters. There you go. Voracek, some good players in Columbus, but we're not going for a cup right away. We're going for rebuild because we're going to have a terrible first year more than likely. Yamamoto gets thrown on the block, but once again, he's also an RFA. He'll sign probably right away to start the season, I'm assuming. I really should have given those guys their real-life contracts as well. I only did give real-life contracts to Pedersen and to Hughes. Like, Kaprizov isn't even signed yet in this. So the rosters are in a really bad state to start the game, just in case you're starting your own franchise mode right now. And so you might have to do some adjustments. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting players on the block, but we're probably not going to be making trades to start the season. But I like all the new profile pictures that these guys have. Well, not profile pictures, but pictures. Brady Tkachuk is on the trading block. Yeah, right. The Sens wouldn't trade Brady. Not yet. Tyler Ennis, Pontus Aberg. Why does Philadelphia have such good prospects on the block? Cam York is on the block, and Shushko is on the block. Tyson Forster's on the block. Yikes. I don't really want to fleece any teams of their prospects because it's not really realistic. See, I only has Drieger on the block. I am excited to get simulating the next episode. So just a heads up, next episode will be not till Tuesday, just because that's when the full game is out. So that way I'll actually still have time left to actually have a lot of time to record the episode, because I got to work on my roster builds, because that is my #1 priority right now. So there you go. Yeah, there's a lot of good young guys on the block, which is kind of good in a sense. So that is that. Let's take a quick look at the free agent pool. So free agency wise, yeah, there's all the RFAs obviously, so let's just go to UFAs. So the best UFA wise is Vatanen, there's Eric Gustafson. I don't even know if some of these guys signed in real life yet, but yeah, there's basically the free agent pool. Like I said, I just gave John Farinacci a contract just because I should have added him to the unsigned guys, but I think it's because of his age being 20 years old that it automatically put him to free agency. So hopefully he ends up signing with us, or else I made a mistake and that'll suck. So yeah, that is that. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this first episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will start up the season simulation. We might make some trades if you guys think it's necessary. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.